Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining our webinar here at PSPDFKit. I'm giving you a few more minutes to let some of the people that registered to join. So we'll sit tight and do that. While we're letting a couple people join, a couple introductions on who's going to be helping me out today. First, my name's Richard. I am part of the sales team here at PSPDFKit. I've been with PSPDFKit for close to a decade now, so I've been fortunate enough to see a lot of the journey and growth of the products. So we'll be talking a little bit about that today. Along with me, I also have Paviter, who's going to be in the background. He is one of our solutions engineers to help answer stuff in the chat, link documentation. When we wrap up at the end of this, we typically include our contact information, ways to get in touch with the team, ways to get in touch with support and sales. So feel free to use the chat. Typically when I start these off, I'd love to hear where everyone's located. So, if you want to drop in the chat where you're sitting today, that's super helpful. We do these about every 2 weeks and we try to be conscious of time zones. So we usually take that information and try and be a little bit more sensitive to things since PSPDFKit is a distributed company around the world. A few notes, this will and is being recorded, so you will receive this afterwards in an email. Additionally, we're welcome to do a private demo or get in depth on anything that we kind of just touch surface level here. So cool. We'll go ahead and get started since it's a couple minutes past. So go ahead and share my screen. So we got a cool couple people, UAE, Colorado, Istanbul, very cool. So share screen. Cool. Okay, awesome. So we should be sitting on the PSPDFKit landing page. So a little bit about the company as we jump in. So PSPDFKit's been in the document SDK space for over a decade. We are a portfolio company with a couple different arms that have joined us in the past couple of years that allow us to do a lot of different things in terms of document workflows. One of the leading products that we see a lot of interest in terms of popularity and development is our Web SDK. So our Web SDK is a JavaScript solution that basically allows you to render and manipulate PDFs in the browser. So there's no backend requirements. Everything can happen fully client side, and we've got a lot of cool things to show you about that today. It tends to be what people are mostly interested in talking about. It's generally what people start their journey on in terms of building an app that has document support these days, since everything from a mobile phone, your MacBook, or even your refrigerator can run a web browser. So we see a lot of different interests there. So wonderful. We'll jump in. So PSPDFKit is one of the cool things. It's used by a lot of different industries, and so we have a lot of different components and functionality that we'll cover today. But one thing I would say is, depending on what you're building, I would welcome you to come check out the solution tabs on our website. We do a really good job on, specific niches where we see documents using. So, let's say if you're in the construction or the engineering space, you can come in and you can see, different companies using PSPDFKit currently under the hood. So you can kind of get an idea of what's possible. We also will walk you through different ways you can use PSPDFKit, and then at the bottom we even give you some suggestions on what components. So that leads me into kind of framing up how we're going to talk about PSPDFKit today. So on our website, there's a lot there. There's a lot to digest, but to kind of give a general overview, PSPDFKit offers a number of different software development kits. So we spend a lot of time and have several different teams at PSPDFKit that develop for different operating systems. Today, we're going to talk about the web solution, the Web SDK, so PSPDFKit Web, that helps for web apps. Additionally to that, we have a lot of different things that has a lot of similar features and functionality for iOS applications, Vision, Android, Windows, Flutter, React Native. We've seen high adoption there, Maui as well as it's emerging in the market, but a lot of things on the front end that we can help with viewing and manipulating documents. So, depending on the app, the operating system, we likely have something for you, but we do web on the webinars because web can be used everywhere, and it can stretch everywhere that runs a web browser. Additionally, we have some really cool stuff that's covered in different webinars on the server side for more programmatic bulk redaction workflows, some AI stuff. We have some hosted services as well. So if you do have any questions about any of that, feel free to reach out. So cool. So talking about web. So the web SDK is broken down into a number of different components that you see here on the right that I'm kind of scanning through. We're going to walk through a high level of a lot of these components today, so you can ask about what's possible, how things can be implemented, is it customizable, if stuff's on our roadmap. So we'll be doing that. So, the core and the immediate tool that everything's built off of is our viewer. So I'm popping up a showcase application that we've built with PSPDFKit. And so this is an example app that is showcasing PSPDFKit for web. So what you're seeing is our standard UI, our standard interface. So, if you bought PSPDFKit today, plugged it in, this is what it would look like without any type of customization and things like that. We've built this nifty sidebar, which is custom as well, that can kind of walk us through this. So, when you're looking at a viewer, you're looking at a lot of different things that are going to be important. The first thing that you're probably looking at is performance. So we use WebAssembly as a web worker in conjunction to the Web SDK. Reading the chat. We use WebAssembly as a web worker to help us with rendering performance. So WebAssembly is downloaded when you use PSPDFKit Web, and that helps us render documents quickly. So with that, and we want that first document to get up as quickly as possible so your users can have a good experience viewing. So in terms of viewing, we've got lots of different ways to navigate the pages. You can see different transitions on how you want to view the document depending on how you're working, zooming in, zooming out, the normal stuff you would expect from kind of a PDF tool. Zooming becomes really important with some technical drawings and things like that, vector-based drawings. So we want to make sure the fidelity is good. But I can always jump out here as well. Other viewer features is, being able to search within a PDF. You can find different words and scroll through that, printing, downloading, things like that. What makes PSPDFKit cool is all this stuff is customizable. So you can customize the toolbar. You can make this look and appear like PSPDFKit's not even there. Some examples like DocuSign uses us, Dropbox uses us, Box uses us, and you wouldn't even know because they've manipulated the UI so that it looks like and feels like their application. So a couple other nifty viewer features, thumbnails, things like that allow you to navigate. We do a lot of work to adhere to the PDF spec. In the specification, so we can pull outlines and things like that. So if you're using other PDF tools, you can see the same stuff as you upload stuff, so annotations and bookmarks. We can take a sneak peek at some of the user interface things that you can do just real quickly. So in terms of toolbar customization, you can remove certain things from the document if you want to do that. DRMs and trying to keep control of the document lifecycle is a big selling point for PSPDFKit. So when you're thinking about, your current PDF workflow, maybe you're using a third-party tool that you have to leave the app, download it, upload it somewhere else. Like there's a large document trail of where that document's going. PSPDFKit helps solve that by keeping everything into your application, into your ecosystem, on your servers, things like that. So where the document is at all times and things like that. So what makes it cool about when you add our UI into it is like, let's get rid of printing. We don't want people to be printing the PDF. We don't want people to be able to export the document. We want to disable things like, copy and pasting. And so like we can really help with kind of narrowing down how people interact with the document, where it lives, and things like that. One of the benefits is the bulk of the tools we provided are self-hosted. There's no analytics, there's no ping back to PSPDFKit. So everything's fully sandboxed in your environment, and you have the ability to control that document workflow. And that's really important to a lot of our customers when they come in. We're SOC 2 Type 2 certified. So we spend a lot of time ensuring that, companies who are using PSPDFKit are having a secure document journey. Wonderful. I'll stop and check on the chat real quick. Cool. Awesome. Pav is great. Thank you, Pav, for helping out. That is helpful. That's super helpful for us. Okay. So that's viewer. The next thing we probably get into is the annotations. When we look at the space, when I say this space, like your I guess options for PDF support is there are some open source viewers in terms of the market right now. So we do see people coming in a lot of different places with where they are with document support. Some are using open source, some have not started with anything, but annotation seems to be one of the things that when you get to the point where you need to annotate and mark up a document, there's not a lot in the industry where it's got annotations pre-built. So it's something you have to build and maintain yourself. And so we have over 22 types of annotations, which is something we've culminated over the past year. So like if there is anything it's missing, we'd love to hear about it. So talking about open source, a couple of things to mention about PSPDFKit is PSPDFKit's actually built off of Google's PDFfume. So Google acquired PDFfume years and years ago, open sourced it. It's a PDF rendering engine that is used in Chrome and used by a lot of companies around the world. It's backed by Google. We made the decision when we were building out our offering to fork off PDFfume. And so when forking off PDFfume, what that means is we have the awesome advantage that we get the benefit of being able to both build functionality on top of PDFfume, essentially everything you'll see today, but also contribute back to the original open source project. Also have Google behind PDFfume, as well as like hundreds of thousands of developers and end users. I mean, Chrome is the most popular browser in the world. And so this allows us the benefit of, added security, more eyes on the tool itself. And so, we built off of PDFfume and we've been really, really happy, and so have our customers. In terms of annotations, the most common one we see is probably just an ink annotation, which allows you to draw. I'm running this in Chrome on my MacBook Pro, just using an Apple mouse. So what this allows me to do, I can draw, we're just talking about PDFfume. With any type of annotation, you want some sort of inspector, so we have the ability to, manipulate the annotation, put backfill. Some of the things you just expect when you're considering PDF support, but we do this, and you're able to set defaults and things like that. Some other annotation types we support are called link annotations. A link annotation basically is a call to action within the PDF that allows you to go to a certain point. So I can click here and it's going to drop me somewhere across the PDF. I can actually create link annotations as well if I wanted to, but this allows me to kind of see if there's any actions on the PDF to go to another page, go to another document, things like that. So we support link annotations through. Okay, I'll just check the chat real quick. Looks like Pav is on. Great, and moving. Cool. This is a little bit about wrapping and forking off of PDFfume, which we kind of talked a little bit about. So other different types of annotations is highlighting. So we have a freeform highlighter that you can highlight text used. We also have the ability to, if the document's been digitally born or OCR'd at some point, we can select the text and give you a text editor in terms of highlighting, strike through, underline, things like that, allow you to kind of really manipulate the document. We even expose APIs that you can take that information, extract it from the document itself. And so one of the things you should be aware of when you're evaluating PSPDFKit is anything you're doing from a UI perspective, you can probably do it programmatically with an API. So if you wanted to programmatically, highlight stuff, if you wanted to programmatically extract text, there's a lot here that you can do to make your workflows great. Okay, just another example of the text highlighter and things like that. And then you always need to be erased if you need to do things. Okay, we'll keep scrolling down to see if we can run into any other annotations. So this is what we would call a node annotation. So you can see the icon here. So we can come up here and pick which one we want to use. So I'm a big fan of the check mark. So you can just say that we were running the webinar today, February 29th. Cool, end of the month. So there we can do that, and that allows us to set different node annotations. Okay, we might want to make some text annotations here as well from me. And we've got some ways to do inline texting and moving stuff, centering, things like that, different fonts. So a lot of abilities to annotate and choose that. Okay. The last one we'll probably cover before we move on to some more in-depth things is just node annotations, being able to draw different types or shape annotations, excuse me. You know, we talked a little bit about how we customize certain things for certain industries. This is a cloud annotation, which we know is really prevalent in the construction industry. We had a client come in and say, hey, we use node annotations pretty consistently. Could you help us support this? And it's something we can do. Can annotations be tracked with the document through APIs? Yes, annotations can be extracted. And I'll let Pav help with the documentation on that. Last little thing, image and stamp. So you could add an image annotation. You could also add a stamp. You can see the approved stamp here. Funny enough, we use the same template as Adobe. So again, a lot of stuff that happens through our development process. So we probably put a new release out every 3 weeks. We do a major release once a quarter, but like there's a big QA process before we ever release anything, because you know we have customers that have over millions and millions of users. We have customers that have billions of users. We have thousands of customers. So anytime we put out a release, it's got to be perfect. And so part of our QA process is taking, you know, some of the things you do with PSPDFKit, putting it under other renderers, seeing that it works and things like that. So that is something that we think is really helpful, because though we hope you use PSPDFKit for everything, you might have to pull a document that you use PSPDFKit for. I think. So a couple cool things about kind of annotations and instructions. We do give you an annotation log of everything that's happening to the document. You can go to it. You can see a history of it. You could get down to the timing. You could do author. You could put an API that asks for author name so you can track this. So we want you to be able to get as much information as you can out of the document itself and things like that. Cool. And so wonderful. That's annotations. So the reason why we start with viewing annotations is because the PDF spec is built in a certain way. So it says certain functionality is required for other functionality. So to be able to annotate a document, you need to be able to view a document. So to be able to fill out a form, which I saw there was questions about, you need to be able to annotate a document, because a PDF ACR form is basically a bounded annotation to a PDF. And so forms are a great use case. And we can talk a little bit about it right now, and we'll probably sink into signatures. So let's look at a PDF ACR form. Let's try that again. Let me click on forms. Okay, cool. This is a PDF form. We support ACR forms, which is the standard by the PDF spec. We do a ton of different types of form fields. So, you know, you have drop downs, you have text fields, you have checkboxes, you have radio buttons, things like that. And there's signature boxes as well, which we will do. So from a standpoint of want to put a form in, want to fill it out, great. We've got you covered completely there. But there's other cool stuff that you can do with forms too using PSPDFKit. So here is a form that is already pre-filled because you can sync basically to your database and use an API to programmatically fill these out as they're being rendered, or programmatically doing it using one of our server tools. So what this allows is, like, if first name, last name is something consistent and you already have that in the database, you can fill those out consistently. And so you don't have to do that. So we programmatically filled all this stuff out. On the other side, you can take this information once it's fully filled out and then also map it and do what you need to do with it as well. So a lot of flexibility around forms and things like that. And cool like that. So everybody do your better, form field change, others agree with the PDF, metadata, thanks, Blair, we have support, kind of cool. Awesome. Thank you, Pat. You're killing it. Yes. So what happens when you don't like the form? There's something about the form that you need to change. We built basically a form creator, and what that allows is it allows the ability to delete form fields, and then let's say for date we actually want it to be a combo box, so we can drop this combo box here, and then I have the ability to put the description. I can go, maybe I don't like this option, I'm going to add an option. It's today, tomorrow, or yesterday. Okay, so we can do that. Let's see what else we want to do. Really like the color green. I do need a border on this. We're going to go a solid border. Oh, too much. Okay, cool. So we have the ability to kind of inline, kind of create and edit the form. And then advanced-wise, we can actually start mapping this, make it read-only, making multi-select, make it required. Some of the stuff we were asking in the chat is like validation on certain forms. So, this is something I want required. I want people to be able to have to do this. And so, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I can flatten the form. If I pull it up into PDF and I drop it down, here we go. Here's our options. So today or tomorrow. So cool, perfect. So we created that form. Another cool use case is what you probably are more accustomed to is when you drop signature boxes or initial boxes, things like that. So one of the big driving factors of doing this was from an e-signature use case. And so we jump back to our components, viewing forms, form credit annotations. We've made it to these for some next to our electronic and digital signatures, which often are associated with form fields as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about signatures now. Let me check the chat and make sure I'm not missing anything. Other PDF tools. Yeah, Rakesh, if it's used by, if it follows the PDF spec, we will render other annotations used by other tools and things like that. That should be fine. Cool. Lots of good questions. So signatures. So a couple different ways to go about signatures when it comes to PSPDFKit. And I think the first thing to note is we have two different types of signatures. We have electronic signatures and we have digital signatures. So electronic signatures is essentially an annotation that's put on a PDF. So it's just it's a subset of an annotation. And so we have a nice signature UI. You can click the box. We can sign as Mr. Johnny Appleseed because he's always my friend when we do the webinars. We can draw it. We drop it to the PDF. Great. I can resize. Wonderful. I can drop this signature wherever I want. Let's say maybe I just wanted to do my initials. So we'll come in here. Maybe I upload an image of my signature. Or, maybe I'm just going to do JA for my initials, and I've got to drop my initials here. So boom, there we go. We're going to drop them to the bottom right. So that's one way to do it. Use the annotation, use the electronic signature, you drag and drop, you put it where you want. Okay, the next thing you can do is you can use forms. And there is a form field that's designated as a signature box. PSPDFKit will recognize that it's a signature box. And when I click on it, it prompts a signing UI. And so I can sign again. And the nice thing about this is it's going to bound it to the box. It's going to size it. It's going to be good. It's still there. I can mess with it. I can come back in and say, maybe I just want to type it. No one can see my handwriting. We'll go with this one. We'll go with PSPDFKit blue. And there we go. So I can flatten it, download it, pull it open, and there we go. Nice signed PDF, electronic signature. It's flattened. Okay, so that's electronic signature. PSPDFKit also does digital signatures. So what a digital signature is, the application of a digital certificate. So PSPDFKit serves as a vehicle to apply that certificate. So we're not a certificate authority yet. However, what this will allow you to do is if you're using Entrust or another certificate provider, it'll allow you to apply it and then verify it, even if it, or we can just render it for you. So let's run through this. So we have Johnny. We're looking through this. We're doing a CADA signature. We're going to go ahead and sign that document. So we're going to sign it. Okay. We're adding the digital signature. Okay. Okay. Let me exit out of this. So cool. It's been signed. We've got the watermark on it. We've got the signature up here. I probably should have placed it in the signature box, but we'll keep rolling. So, and then PSPDFKit saying, hey, digital signature's there. Everything's good. Everything's valid. So the cool part about a digital certificate and what PSPDFKit does is if I come in and change this document at any point, we immediately tell you, hey, this has been changed. It's been altered since we've talked, or since it's been signed, the document's been changed. And this is a key thing about why digital signatures are so important. It allows you to basically ensure that the document's valid. I've got a lot in the chat right now. Let's make sure everything's good to go. Yep. All right, cool. So digital signatures, really, really important. So we have long-term validation. You have different ways to apply the certificate. We can do CADIS. And so please let us know if you have questions about this, because, you know, we have a lot of customers come to us going, should I use electronic? Should I use the digital? Well, we can do both for you. All right, cranking right along. So all the way through signatures, annotations, and forms. This was actually kind of the core components that PSPDFKit went into the market with over 10 years ago on iOS. So these were really the most common things we see is viewing annotation forms and signatures is what people are using on PDFs. The next step in our journey really that we saw was what we call the document editor. So a lot of you probably have Adobe on your desktop or something like that, you know, anytime you need to merge a document or something like that, you have to kind of leave what you're doing, open up Adobe, wait for it to do what it does, and then, you know, merge, blah, 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 download and stick it back in. So we built something called the document editor that allows you to do that within the app. So think about you're working on a document and you're like, I need to get rid of this page. Instead of downloading it, going somewhere within the app, you can come in here, you can delete pages, you can rotate pages, you can move them around. You can add different pages. You can merge, so we can import documents from other things right here. And then you can zoom in and out as well. So this allows you to kind of really manipulate the document all within your application and keep everything still in your ecosystem. So then you have the option when you're done, is like, do you want to overwrite the document? Do you want to save as for new version? So we can do that as well. So, you know, let's say we wanted to, you know, where's that signature that I just did? So I'm going to go and import the document. I'm going to find that signature. I really need that signature on the page. Here it comes. I actually want it here in the back. I'm going to save. Okay. I'm going to check things out. I basically imported the annotation log as well. Go to the bottom, and there we go. There's my Johnny Appleseed signature as well. So cool. That's the document editor. Can we work SE? Yep. Offline. Cool. Yeah, offline supported. As long as the document's stored locally on your device, that can definitely be done. So that is something that's very possible to do with PSPDFKit. Okay. Wonderful. So we're going to jump around a little bit from here because there's some things I definitely want to cover during our time. So one of the things I do see some questions about different Office or different file types and things like that. And so when we look at PSPDFKit, the web solution specifically, there is a tool we call the document engine that can be added to the web SDK. And what that does, it allows a lot of different functionality on the back end that allows you to do some server-side APIs, some more processing, things like OCR and things like that. One of those things that you can do both client-side or server-side is you increase the different types of documents that we can deal with. So you see image documents, you see Office files documents, image documents, you TIFF, PNG, JPEG, things like that, Office files, PowerPoint, Word, Excel. We can convert those to PDF during a rendering process and then allow you to work with those with the same tools we've seen here. We can also give you a tool to do it on the server as well if you want to. And there's even more documents. I know we're talking about CAD in the chat and things like that. There's even more documents that types that we can do as well if you're interested. So like our idea is that, you know, we can be document agnostic. You can pull those in and then you can view and things like that. Cool. Same kind of things with like PDF-A conversion, making things PDF-A compliant, being able to hyper compress things like that. These are things that you can do with PSPDFKit as well. So wonderful, wonderful. All right, so back to the demo. So, you know, we're chatting a little bit about Adobe and things like that. And so one of the really good things that Adobe provides to a lot of people is, you know, the ability to actually edit the PDF itself. So a lot of the things we talked about today and we talked about in the chat is you're adding another layer to the PDF. You know, we're annotating on top of it. We're annotating on top of it. We're adding a signature on top of the PDF. What we want to also sometimes be able to do is edit the PDF we've been given. Like, let's say we've converted it from a Word file, or we need to update a date, wrong currency sign. It's like going back to the source document and doing this all over again. It can be really cumbersome. So we built something called the content editor. So we hit content editing mode, and what that does, it goes ahead and pre-selects all the text on the PDF and groups it into paragraphs, things like that, and goes, all right, good to go. So what this allows you to do is more of an editing mode for the document itself. So we can move the original text, we can move, you know, things around there. So it allows you to kind of do the underlying layer of the document where normally you would only be able to annotate on a different layer. So I can get in here, double click, and then I could say the webinar is going really well today, and we're getting a lot of good questions in the chat. Okay, so I can save and close, and now it's part of the PDF. It's that base layer. So we go back, and now I can highlight this, and I can use the annotation layer as well. So really, really helpful being able to do a lot of this stuff. So, you know, contact, we go back here, another example. I'm going to widen this out for myself, get here, and we're going to go, boy, today is the last day of the month, which everyone knows in sales is our favorite day. So save and close. Wonderful. So that's content editing, and that's a really cool feature to be able to use. And there's a lot more coming with this as well. So excuse me for a second. Other functionality that we like to mention is the redaction bit. So we're talking, redaction falls well with content editing because it's a very niche component. And redaction is super valuable because it allows you the ability to permanently remove information from a PDF. What we see a lot in the industry is a lot of things that people try to do redaction is they put like a black annotation box on it. Like they annotate, they put a black annotation box on it. But that doesn't remove what's actually with the document itself. So we do a couple things to kind of show this. So I'm going to download this document real quick. All right, we're going to go back to our general viewer, and I'm going to open the document. So, okay. All right, kill the sidebar. All right, and I'm going to search for the word limit. Okay. So up on the toolbar, we have 5 instances of where limit is, okay? So some tools will basically try to annotate things or redact things like this. So I put a bar on it, I'm gonna download it. All right, I'm gonna pop it open in this and looks like it's gone. Looks like it's been redacted. When we go back into PSPDFKit and we open that annotated document, and I search for limit, we still have 5 instances of it because the underlying information is still there. Like we can still get to it. It's just, it's not visible. So what's cool about the redaction tool, as we come back down to redaction, you said, you know what? I want limit to be completely gone. So we're going to mark this for redaction. So I've outlined it. I've got a nice little toolbar thing of the redaction back here. This is redaction for text is what the T says. We're going to say we're running a webinar. This is why we need to do it. We're going to make it bright yellow. And we're going to apply that redaction. So here we go. So we remove that redaction. You can zoom in. Here it is, webinar. That's why we're redacted. So text-based redaction, we also do an area redaction. So we're just going to grab this area too and apply the redaction. So if you remember, we had 5 instances. So we're going to download this document again, go back to our general viewing. We're going to upload that document. Okay, and we're going to search webinar, or we're going to search limit, excuse me. Only 3. We've removed that from the document, and that's a really cool thing to do, that you can actually remove that information from the document itself. So redaction is a very powerful tool. We can do it on both the client side, we can both do it on the server side. If you're really interested, we've actually even built a AI-powered OCR that you can basically teach it to auto-detect sensitive information. And so like you can see, we've made it auto-detect everything we think would be sensitive. We can see the preview of the redaction, and then we can apply it as well. So a lot of cool things you can do with PSPDFKit, and redaction's a good one. Yep. Cool. All right. Moving forward. So, we talked about viewing, annotations, signatures, a little bit about content editing, different office types and things like that. We can get a little bit into some niche stuff. I don't know if anyone here is from kind of the engineering construction space, but there's 2 things we can touch briefly on. And the first one's measurement tools. So this is used across a variety of industries, healthcare, construction, things like that. But being able to essentially measure the distance between certain areas, you can see us snapping to the grid and things like that. You get square footage and stuff like that. So you can set the calibration or the scale, and then you're able to actually measure distance and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff here that you can't find anywhere else in terms of support of measurements. And so there's a lot of different examples here. So want to definitely always kind of highlight that. The other thing I would quickly want to go over is the ability to overlay 2 documents. So right now we've got 2 different versions of a blueprint. So you see this little thumbtack moving around, and then in the top right corner, you've got like a zoomed in thing. So what we ask you to do is we ask you to pick the 3 spots on the PDF that they're very close or almost the same. So we're going to click these 3 real quick. All right, I've got that. And we're going to go back down here. And what it does is it quickly, it overlays the vector-based PDF, so you can see all the differences. You can see where the walls are different, see where things like that between the blue and the red down here. So we do this with vector-based PDFs, so vector-based PDFs being like drawings and things like that. We also have an API to do it for text-based PDFs as well. So if you need to overlay 2 different versions of a document, you can do that with an API we have and then pull the results as well. So that's really, really cool stuff there. So wonderful. So yeah, we're getting to the end of time here because we usually run these for about 45 minutes. I'm going to look at the questions and stuff and see if anything. Awesome. We've got some questions. We've got one of the questions for you to help out with. But before I give you a quick kind of walkthrough through the website, if you haven't done an evaluation, there's one last thing I always like to show people, which I think is just really, really cool. PDFs have been around for a while, like a very long time. And so the way we interact with PDFs has really remained pretty consistent. But the way we do work has changed drastically. So one of the things I've seen when I'm looking at the way people interact with documents is we have a lot of tools like Google Docs now, real-time collaboration tools. And like we saw a place in the market where this isn't being done with PDFs. And so what we built is essentially, these are 2 different web browsers looking at the same PDF. And what we built is basically a real-time sync engine called Instant that allows you to basically solve any conflict resolution you ever have with a document. So what this is doing is every time we make a change to the document, it's sending update back to your server and updating it in real time. So you're able to have, things like threaded conversations on the side of the document. I can come over here and respond, and these things are getting pulled back. It's a great tool if you have any type of workflow where you have multiple people working on the document and you don't want to deal with the versioning of the document, because we handle that for you. It also handles conflict resolution. It's also a great tool if you're jumping between devices. You're on your iPhone, then you're on your desktop, then you're on your laptop. Like, this would allow the latest version of the document always to persist. So that's called PSPDFKit Instant, and it's still a self-hosted product that you can definitely do. Okay. So we got about 5 minutes left. And so, we've had a ton of questions today. There's a couple things I definitely want to leave with you guys, with everyone. So here is my contact information directly. If anybody wants to have a conversation with me directly, please let me know. I did do a big reach out to anybody working with it right now yesterday. So we'd love to hear feedback. I think I've heard from a couple people on here. But a couple ways to kind of get the ball rolling. So if you wanna try us out, you want to go to Get Started. Today we were working on the web. We're working on the web SDK. Let's say we're using Angular. It's very popular, a new project, and then we're going to get started. So you're going to go to our guides. You're going to look at Angular, and then you're going to have this web SDK versus web SDK plus document engine. And so this is kind of what you're going to look at in terms of, like, do you want to do a fully client-side integration, or do you want to add our optional document engine that you host as well, that has a lot of different cool stuff that can help you out in terms of being able to help do certain server-side stuff and things like that. And you can see, you can compare what the difference are. So that's one way to get started. You can do iOS, mobile, things like that. There's a lot of different things there. On the pricing side, if you haven't, let's get you in touch with the sales team. We want to hear a little bit about what you're building. Our pricing model is largely a subscription model. So there's an annual fee with updates and support and your access to the technology. When we look at what we went over today, like, there's a lot here in terms of support. You may not need, hyper compression to make documents really small. You may not need the ability to annotate and sync in real time. And so what that allows us to do is, when you're trialing stuff, you get access to everything. When you move into production, we can feature flag this. We can always sell you and price you for what you need. So come have a conversation with us, have a conversation with our sales team. We're going to be interested in what SDK you're building. We're going to be interested in what components you need. We'd love to hear about the app you're building, like the number of users, the number of documents, and we to your budget and help you kind of use our technology. So we typically want to have a conversation with you. So you can send out a request here and we can get that process started. You can also directly schedule a call with us. You can see our availability at all times. So, if you wanted to talk to us in about an hour and a half, there's availability here for you to do that. You can also email us directly. We also have technical support. So, today you've been talking to Pav, which is one of our solutions engineers. We have an engineering team that's distributed around the world. We're happy to help you with your questions, help you with the implementation, and see what we can do with this. PDFs are a very complex thing. It's why we exist. It's why people use us. It's why companies like IBM, IBM and Disney and Dropbox and Autodesk trust us and things like that. So, you definitely want to have a conversation with us. And last thing is, check out the documentation. It's not locked by any chance. Everything that we have is there. You can run through. There's a ton of information here. You can also come into our resources, check out other webinars we've done in the past. You can also, take a look at our customer stories. You can see why people move to PSPDFKit from another SDK. You can see how companies like Board Pro, European Investment Bank, the Austrian government, Bayern Munich, CMIC, a lot of cool case studies here, even DocuSign. So yeah, so we're right at 45 minutes, so we're finishing up. Again, I welcome anybody to reach out to me directly if you have questions. We certainly appreciate the engagement on the chat today. Again, you'll get a follow-up email from me soon asking if there's anything we can help with. Thank you for attending. You'll get a recording of this, but yeah, let us know what we can help. Paviter is part of the team. He's happy to help too. So I do hope everyone enjoys the rest of their Thursday, the end of the month, and hopefully we'll see you next time. We do this about every 2 weeks. Once you get the email, I do ask if there's any feedback. I would love to hear feedback on how we can improve these going forward. Okay. All right, everyone, have a wonderful day. Thank you again, and we look forward till next time.